You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You're now tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. The crew is in the building. My man Jay Moore, locked and loaded. How are you, sir?
Doing well. You know, just another day, another dollar. You know the vibes.
I do know the vibes. My man Lonegevity. How are you, buddy?
What's up, man? Doing okay.
Yeah.
Just been a very, very busy week leading up to the festival, the Trees Festival this year. So that's all.
You excited?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. The excitement hasn't hit me. I'm still like working through the, you know, all the things that are happening.
Yeah, the real work's being done right now.
Yeah,
that's fair.
So.
That's fair.
Yep.
My man DJ Jay Diff.
Salutations.
What's happening, man?
Howdy. How are you?
I'm good, man. Everything's everything. Good to see you brothers on another Tuesday.
Indeed.
There's a video that I came across on Instagram, and it's talking about.
You download it?
Of course he didn't.
I didn't. It's easy though. It's right. It'll pop up. But I still have to download it. I'm missing the point. I know. I forgot to download it. But there's a producer that's talking about the concept of having a conversation about the concept of complete records and just the creative process in terms of what happens behind the scenes when people get together and start working on records. And it's a very interesting conversation that we're having. This Gino the Ghost is the producer. I looked him up. He's Grammy Award winning. You know, he's worked with a lot of artists. But check out what he says about the process, the creative process, and what he's seen as a producer that's been established and been making records for a while. See what you guys think about this. Just the overall feel for what he says and also the impact.
When I go in a session, I'm not making like a mid-tempo. I'm not going to create something cool and artsy. I need to create a hit because I need to make money and I need this song to get chosen by the label. And they're not going to pick the song if it doesn't have tempo. It doesn't sound like a hit. It doesn't sound sticky. The album is now comprised of, is this a single? Is this a single? They're all trying to be singles, which makes the overall product just, you know, when you used to listen to albums back in the day, you would listen to that front to back, and it was like a story, and it was cohesive, and that's why albums like, you know, certain like like Good Kid, Mad City, and those albums are like they tell a story and they're so cool, and even like old Beyonce albums and like, you know, Jay-Z albums, they tell a story. Well, today even Beyonce albums, it's just all hits. They got to be all singles, you know. So first of all, I think it's dope to hear a producer or somebody that's from on the back end that's actually working on the records and hears what the requirements are, the label pressures are, to talk about what they tell them when they come into studios, because the single thing, as music gets shorter and projects get shorter, seems like that's the direction. But my question is, one, do you guys feel like that has become the thing? And two, do producers have a responsibility to go against what they're being told for the sake of the bag that he talked about? The fact that he's got to provide for his family, he's got to do what he's got to do. Does somebody have to debunk this in order for it to possibly start to change? Because I'm not here to count somebody's pocket. You got to do what you got to do. So far be it for me to say that. But do you think there are producers or people out there that might be able to say, nah, I just don't want to be a part of this?
Yes. When I listen to what The Alchemist did, you know, and if you are part of our Patreon, you'll see what The Alchemist did with Big Sean.
Yeah.
I don't hear a hit there. I hear a song that has a nice vibe. If you're a Big Sean fan, you'll be very happy with it. If you're an Alchemist fan, you'll be happy with it. If you're just like a certain kind of hip hop, but I don't hear a hit. Now, I don't think that's what they were going for. This is an opportunity for Big Sean to get some things off his heart and tell a story and tell us how he's actually feeling. He's not thinking, okay, this is going to be as big as Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay or I Don't F With You. This is an opportunity for him to do something that is more true to himself. You know, and I think there are artists who have the opportunity to do that with certain artists. You know, back when I was, you know, a little closer to the radio and records game, and people would ask me, do I like something? Like I said, don't ask me if I like it. Ask me if I think it'll work. Do I think this will work? No. Do I like it? Yes. Now, on the other hand, we talked about Ice Spice a couple weeks ago.
Right.
You know, everything that I hear from her are swings, and unfortunately, she took 10 swings and it's 10 misses. Yeah. You know, these are songs that I don't think are particularly good, and I don't think they'll work either. And so, like, there are producers who are here to make hits. When you get with, depending on the time and, if you said, okay, I'm going to get Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, so I'll even take it back to then, you're hiring them because you want to get on the radio. It will take it a few years further than that. If you enlist Jermaine Dupri or, Puff Daddy and whoever he was working with, you're trying to get on the radio.
Timbaland.
Yeah, Timbaland.
Yeah. Pharrell.
Now, even though like his prices were high, we have this regard for DJ Premier. I mean, that's what you would call, if you will, the street single. Okay. And that's when there was a thing, okay, you have Juicy on one side and then you have Unbelievable on the B side. And so there was a place for that, but now
your hip hop cred single.
Yeah.
Good point.
So now it's just a thing where it's like, okay, either you're going to be the record that's a vibe and you're going to create a situation where this is my, for lack of a better term, credibility record. And then this next one, this is going to be the one I'm trying to get in the club. It may not be as complex. It might be, $1 Million Baby. I'm going for that lane. I'm swinging as hard. I'm swinging for the fences. I'm trying to make a hit. Something's going to play in the clubs, ring off, and I can maybe get a commercial endorsement from.
What if I told you that what you just said is a devil's advocate part to that, because Big Sean and Alchemist have the cachet to make this choice to do this?
Oh no,
everybody might not.
No, that's what
Everybody
I'm saying.
has no.
That's what I wanted, Lone. That's why.
Some people don't have to rap to eat the way some people they're rapping and producing to eat.
That's why I said that.
But are they really?
Jump in, Lone.
It's just like I get that point, but there's a difference between fast food and food that's good for you, right? And
True.
You mentioned the fact that Ice Spice has been trying this formulaic approach and she's been striking out.
Right.
From an artistic standpoint, you can make art and creative stuff that you really like if you're an artist, and you can give it to the fan base of people that appreciate you for your art.
Mm-hmm.
You can try different things that potentially may go down a hit path, as long as they're still you. Or you can be somebody who I would consider, and the argument that I always make, and people like me would always make, that there are artists out there that don't really make art for the sake of making art. They're making art for the sake of commerce, and they're making art for the sake of trying to grab as many people as possible. Where if we're looking at this on like the Venn diagram or whatever, that's always the highest piece, as opposed to certain artists. It's always like, let me make this piece of art, and if I can make this pop up and blow up a little bit by by balancing that together, then I think different artists approach this in a different way. Okay. But I think this has always been formulaic. I feel like the old albums from back in the day were also formulaic because you always had the hit. You always had, they were crafting albums in a very specific way.
The girl record, the that.
The West Coast record.
The difference now is that now in the streaming and the algorithm that we are operating under with the TikTok and realistically the reels and the shorts, is that every single song on an album has a potential to blow up in that particular way. And people are trying to catch lightning in a bottle on every single song as opposed to craft a piece of art. And again, this goes back to my comment about the Ice Spice and Sexy Reds and the difference between an artist and a content creator. To me, I look at it like that. I think it's been formulaic. I think it's more formulaic. I think it's more in our face about how much we can tell what the formula is right now, just because it's a lot more obvious. But even back then, like even when I was making records and you were making records, even 10, 15 years ago, we were like, well, we still need one of these. Or
we did say that.
We need one of these. And we did. But did we really? Not really, because, sure, you could say that, but, depending on how you want to round your project out in whatever way. But a lot of that stems from the formulaic approach of wanting to cover all the bases on an album because you want something that could potentially reach this crowd or potentially reach this crowd or potentially do this. So I think the formulaic approach has always been there. I just think that we've just lost a lot of the well-roundedness of what makes an album from a mainstream popular level.
Think about the time frame of the records that he talked about. He said, what? Good Kid, Mad City. What else did he mention?
It's crazy how you can say old Beyonce record.
Old Beyonce record.
Crazy.
Right?
Beyonce, her first album was 2003 or 4.
Yeah, but just think about it. When you take about the group,
That was the late 90s.
Yeah, so Beyonce's been famous for almost 30 years at this point.
I think I agree with Lone from the standpoint of the formula perhaps has been in place. It just looks different now. Plus, our access is different now to what we can see. So I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on there. But I do agree with this gentleman here as it relates to a lot of the projects not having what we'll call, I guess, the lasting power because they're so watered down. Everybody's in a rat race. So if everybody's in a rat race, everybody's doing the same thing. You're not going to get Michael stands way out. That's an anomaly. My point exactly. It stands way out because of the integrity and the attention to detail that Lone was talking about that can happen. That's why it stands out so far now. He
created a piece of artwork for art's sake.
I think he wasn't thinking, okay, I got this for the strip club. This is going to be my West Coast record. This is going to
I think he kind of was.
Maybe he was.
He's got a couple records, but people don't give him a chance
but
because
it's not
of what
at the forefront. You know, it's not like he's not compromising. He's not saying, you know what, I'm actually just going to release 12 of these records because I know I can get more streams.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Terry.
I think this dude is actually literally just speaking from the producer for hire point of view, though. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this is his job. So like, my job is to create a sound for this record label. Mm-hmm. They're looking for this specific type of sound. So this is all they're going to look for from me. So this is the bag I need to be in. Now, my opinion on that is do that, cater to that, because that's how you eat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to make yourself. I mean, you can have an artist as you bring up. You can do your own joint where you produce and mix whatever you want to put out there. But at the end of the day, this is your job. So you got to clock in and make these records for these record labels. Yep. If they don't pop off like they want them to pop off,
that's true.
I mean, you got your front end, but you're not eating like you would have rather, like you just said, he's a Grammy Award winning producer.
He is. Yeah, he is.
So he's not going to get those residuals like he wants because he's not nominated necessarily in the bag that he wants to be in.
He's not trying to make album cuts.
Right. He has to make these cuts that this record label is going to pick up. Now, if he doesn't feel comfortable about making that, then that's one of the things why a lot of artists make up an alias. So you can't necessarily tie it back to me, but I'm getting paid for it. So I have this alias name that I'm producing under this name, but it still comes back to me. I think he's more speaking from integrity point of view. Mm-hmm. He would prefer to produce things that are a cohesive album, so to speak, that tells a story versus you just want me to send you a whole bunch of upbeat hits and y'all are going to throw all of that against the wall and see what sticks.
Again,
I agree with that. But because the reason I agree with what he said is because it comes off as, I'm sorry, Long, that it's tugging at him the way he's talking about it.
That's what it felt like.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like he's pulling at him a little bit. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to say this. I haven't been able to say it in the last few weeks, but that's capitalism. Yeah. It's big business, literally, like saying, no, you can't be creative. We need this formula. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We need this formula from you. And if you can't create this, then we will go find somebody else that can do it.
And then this also goes back to the tides have turned to where you don't necessarily have to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't have to go through a record label to do my thing.
Right.
And it also depends on the artist that you're working with, the audience that they're looking to reach. I mean, we listen to a lot of artists that their main goal and focus is not to make a catchy tune to get on the social media site or to be on the radio, even for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to work directly with those people and you know that, then you know that that's going to come with the territory. So I actually want to get one of my most popular songs with this artist because they're bubbling right now.
Right.
So I got to stick to the script on that. But then I can work with this other artist that I really like, and we can build and make something, create something that's a story like the albums he brought up.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
Yeah, I don't disagree with him at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't disagree with what he's saying.
I mean, I knew you would be able to speak to it because you've approached projects. So that's why I was very curious to hear what your opinion would be because
Yeah, I have a formulaic approach to everything that I make. Every single project is formulaic. I feel like that's normal. You know what I mean? But I think there's another thing. But I have an artistic formulaic approach as opposed to a commerce one. And I think that's a different approach.
Yeah.
So.
And when you're in a position like this guy, like he said, he's a Grammy Award winning artist. So, producer, technically artist.
Yeah.
So they're going to reach out to him because he has that accolade. So that gives him an edge. So in turn for him to, try to make more of those hits, he has to kind of stick to the script. So
yeah.
Look, he's looking, like I said, he's looking for placements. He's looking for the songs that he produces to be singles
Right.
on these major releases.
That's that game.
You know,
Yeah.
now if you're, Common and Pete Rock with the album they just put out,
Right.
They ain't thinking
you're
about
not
that.
thinking about, okay, let's go ahead and do one for the radio. Like, no, because there's nothing on there.
Nah, because if one sticks and goes to the radio, then that's a win for them. But
Yeah.
that's not their main goal or intention.
And plus, there's not a machine that's trying to be like, okay, hey, we got this Common and Pete Rock radio, and maybe we could schedule a flyaway to this, and we could, because I'm sorry, I know there's no payola is not a thing.
Right.
I'll say that out loud. Payola is not a thing. They got rid of that. But there's so many ways around it.
Oh, yeah.
I love that did they long.
Did they?
I don't know, because you know what, I literally,
What's the
being
new
at
word
work,
for it? What's the
Well, yeah. What's the new thing?
I'm gonna just keep playing this song all day, because literally when I'm at work and I just got the radio turned on,
Yeah.
they will play the Meg Thee Stallion, what's her name, Glorilla, and Cardi B song will come on every 5 minutes. Sometimes it'll come on right
It's a
behind
different
each
type
other.
of payola. It's corporate payola.
Or even I take that back. Not even that situation. So anytime something new comes out on Friday, they will keep playing that song.
Yep.
So that artist label or whatever, they're not going to call it payola, but they did something to put that in rotation to where that plays every 15 minutes on a new release day.
Look,
So what you
and
telling
it may
me?
not ever play on the radio again. It's almost like
And the
they're
labels-
testing it with y'all to see if
Yes.
y'all like it.
And the labels are in bed with Spotify too. Like it's
Yeah.
It's
So
all
what
this-
you telling me is something going on. That's
Look,
just not somebody
hey,
showing love at the radio
Guys,
station.
let me tell you something. When radio stations, when you're like, okay, this is how radio sometimes program. I'll pull the sheet back just a little bit, so you can see Oz and what he's doing back there. And you'll be like, at the end of the programming block, when they're going into the commercial break, it was like new music from, and you're like, okay, new music from said artist. Like a new song doesn't get added unless it's in a way. Unless they say, okay, this is the new Maxwell. Like there's not as much greasing of palms to get the new Maxwell or Alicia Keys or Luther Vandross song. Like I said, that's how long ago I was in radio. But if it's a song and you're like, oh, who is this? And then you listen to it, be like, oh yes, and so and so radio station is doing a special contest and a flyaway. That means there has been a corporate push and there has been checks written. You can't. But the difference is, when I talk to the old jocks, who they used to just the reps used to just come around and pay your light bill.
Oh, okay.
Or they must used to come around and just give you cash, because there was no such thing as BDS until the 90s. So what you submitted as your playlist and how many spins something got, it was just on a piece of paper that you faxed into the radio. So you might not have played none of those records, but it's just about what you turn in.
Right.
There was no such thing as, we're used to the SoundScan era.
Yeah.
And so that used to be all on paper, and what you said was sold, that's what was sold.
Yeah.
Now if it was something like when Michael Jackson Thriller was out and like people were running out of these records, like you couldn't deny what was going on. But, there have been some other records where you're like, if you dig in and really do the paperwork, it might have been a top 30 record, but it wasn't a top 20 record. So and one of the things where I think that is just full of corruption, and like I said, maybe it's because it's such new media and the people in Washington don't know, or the people on a local level don't know. I still think payola is rampant through streaming.
It just looks different.
Absolutely.
I think you can just go up there with a paper bag full of money.
There was.
And and no one's going to say anything.
Lon's wheels are turning.
And no one's going to say anything because like they're so worried about people going up to program directors and dropping off cash.
Yeah.
They don't realize it's like, look, shout to B Swift when he broke this down at the G Note last year for Treese. He said radio hasn't broken a record in 10 years. So what you have now is these playlists. Like, who's to say who's going up there and writing checks to make sure that someone is a part of these playlists? And when, like I said, people say, oh, they hit the button on that. And I see it every weekend because when I turn on the automated system, so there's music played outside of my establishment, I can do it 3 nights in a row and there'll be a certain song that plays first every night.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing.
Been paid for.
Rap, what's the one on Spotify? Rap Caviar?
Yeah.
Yeah, something going on if you get on
Like remember we talked
At
about
some point in
at
time.
one point, yeah.
It's
Is it different? Probably different now.
Remember we talked about how Lil Nas X, they try to hit the button on him?
Yeah.
And And I just remember that weekend, every time I turned on my music automation service, that's supposed to be random, they had that Lil Nas X song playing. Now, the thing is, it didn't stick and nobody cared, but...
Yeah, they'll keep playing it. Like the same thing happened. Like the song that I say comes on all the time.
Yeah,
literally started on one of those Fridays. So this is a Meg Thee Stallion song featuring Cardi B and Glorilla.
Now after a certain point,
they kept playing it that Friday. It stuck. Everybody liked it.
Yeah.
So now they added it throughout the week 3 and 4 times on the hour.
Radio is set up to where basically that song is probably played every 35 to 45 minutes.
Right, it's faster than that.
Because like it's set up to where, say you go get, you take your lady out, get a little something to eat. The song that you hear, if you're listening to the radio, which at this point is rare for a lot of people, the song that you hear on the radio station that you're listening to, when you get back in the car after you've had your food and paid for everything, that same song should be playing.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's the way it's set up, because you'll look at like that Meg and Glorilla song. That song is probably played between 85 and 110 times a week on one station.
Yeah, a lot.
So
not Terry Long. What'd you find?
So somebody just mentioned something about streaming, fake streams, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just saw a TikTok pop up today, actually, and it's in reference to this. Go ahead, flip to the full screen there, Terry, real quick. Yeah. So the Federal Trade Commission announced a final rule that's going to ban fake reviews and testimonials online, which is not quite the same thing of banning fake streams. But I also, the video that I saw also talked about how they are investigating potentially blocking fake streams from a federal level. So you won't, to really combat the idea of fake streaming, both like view bots and all that stuff as well. So this rule will allow the agency to strengthen enforcement, seek civil penalties against violators, and deter AI-generated fake reviews on things.
Oh, that's dope.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, buying positive and negative reviews, insider reviews by consumer testimonials, company-controlled review websites, review suppression, misuse of fake social media indicators. So this is a very interesting thing in the commission.
Dirty out there.
It was a 5-0. So it looks like this is going to somehow come into law, which would be interesting, and I like it.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, though. Like I said,
that's dope right there, Long.
Right now they have all these rules, and this goes back to Alan Freed. With the payola thing, because at one point that wasn't against the law to just take a bag up to the radio station and say, play this. Like,
go watch the James Brown movie.
That was, watch anything about old rock and roll, and watch Dream Girls, anything. Watch,
record slid with a stack of money behind it.
Bruh,
but now
suitcases.
But see now, like in my era, I just remember at one point 20 Xboxes showed up to the radio station where I was working.
Got one.
No, that's what made me mad.
That's why you mad.
I wasn't in any position to help anybody, so they get all the program directors got anybody who's programmed, they got an Xbox.
Merry Christmas.
Yep.
All right, man. That's good talks. Good talks. Yeah. I appreciate Lone on that article too, because I did not know that. So
I had to buy my own Xbox.
Yeah. Also, to add to that, literally his situation is no different than a DJ. Some places you go, you have to spend stuff that you don't necessarily want to spend.
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
Yeah,
and then you can go do your own thing or your mixtapes or whatever like that and do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, this is your hobby, but it's also your job.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you definitely been in that position. I know that for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you can look. A DJ is just in the club. Yeah. You can take a bribe.
Yeah, for sure.
I've said it on the mic. I said, we don't take requests, but we do take bribes.
Straight like that. Let's run the partners.
Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Printfinity is a screen printing shop based in Indianapolis, owned and operated by our own DJ Jay Diff. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member for as little as $3 a month. All details on newoldheads.com.
All right, we are back. Shout out to our partners. As always, shout out to the chat if you still stuck around. If you lurking, that's cool too. One of my favorite OG rappers from back in the day that was associated with Busta Rhymes.
Flipmode Squad is
Come
in the
on
building.
now. Rampage, The Last Boy Scout, has one of the best album covers ever made.
Did he?
You remember that album cover?
No, I remember.
Lone will flash it at some point.
Yeah.
How did Lone know which one I was? How did he know to go exactly to the one?
His face is in a condom.
Yeah.
That
Shout
was
out to Rampage.
that was the
heat on this album.
Wild for the Night was what you would call the credibility street single,
bruh. It's heat on this album.
And then the song with Billy Lawrence is what he was trying to get for the radio. So there you go.
Thanks for finding that, Lone.
Do what I can.
All right, man. So there's a video. I believe I labeled it with him with his name on it, and he's talking about seeing his peers rap. I don't know if this is good. Talk though. I don't know if I like where he's coming from on this, but y'all be the judge.
It's like Beetlejuice right there.
What's 2 plus 2? Hey man, might be 28.
What's you doing? Nothing.
Just hanging around.
No, that was completely hilarious and unnecessary, bro.
It's very necessary.
All right, here's this is real Pete Rock sharing. Here we go.
Favorite MCs who's been here before. What disgusts me is you come from an era of great music that I can play 20 million times over and over and over. It will never play out. But when I see you tap dancing to trap music, and that's not you, I have a problem with that. In my era.
Like whom?
Who's he talking about?
Oh, it's still more though.
Is there?
Yeah, it's still more.
You constantly make classics. Scenarios a classic. Wild for the Night is a classic. Busta Woo Hard's classic. What happened to that? A lot of my favorite artists is giving you 10% right now. They can't even get a show right now because they're trash. But if they turn on them classics, everybody's calling. But see, it goes back to everybody is afraid to be themselves. Yeah. What's wrong with being what you was when you first came in?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, so
I don't agree with that. Really?
Do you get what he's saying? Because to me, it's telling me you're telling people to stay stagnant.
Yeah, to a certain point. But the thing about it is, a lot of times you have to evolve or evaporate. If you don't like what this artist is doing, don't listen to him at the end of the day. I mean, people are still going to have a following regardless. Now, there are some people that sell themselves short or sell themselves out by trying to hop on everything that's popular. Now, that's different. If he's talking about that, then yeah, I can kind of understand.
I want to know who he's talking about.
Do you think he's talking about the album
specific.
Blockbuster?
Yes, you beat me to it. I think that's who he's talking about indirectly. I think that's who he's talking about indirectly.
He did mention Scenario.
He said jumping on trap beats. He mentioned Scenario. He mentioned Busta had classics.
He might be.
That's the first thing that came to my mind is Blockbuster.
I didn't listen to Blockbuster, so
you ain't missed nothing.
That's why he had to cancel his tour because that album was not it. He should have toured Extinction Level Event 2.
I think that was still too close to the pandemic.
He probably could have still ran that mug on tour though, and it would have went.
But
versus Blockbuster.
But doesn't it feel like he's saying, just this worked, why don't y'all just keep doing this? And just,
it doesn't work like that though.
Thank you. That's why I don't think this is good advice.
No artist that is an actual artist stays in the same pocket for their whole career. Nobody does that. Every artist that has made it in this game, sound has evolved somewhat to fit the time that they're still putting music out, whether it be socially or whether it be on the popular sound. You know what I'm saying? There's little bits and pieces of that comes with it. Then now there are artists that, and this kind of goes back to our last conversation, that want to stay true to themselves and their sound stays true to them, but it still evolves with them. It doesn't stay in that same pocket. You can't put out a Scenario joint right now. It's not going to work.
Coast Contra does.
Coast Contra.
And it works for them.
It works for them. But like imagine hearing Scenario right now, like if it just came out.
It would have to be in an
updated version of it.
No, I mean, it would literally have to be like a Coast Contra. But the thing is, there would be no reference point, like because it
wouldn't have been as popular as it was back then.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Scenario was big.
Yeah.
It also was unique.
But to your point, it does go to our previous conversation about chasing hits, though, a little bit too, rather than making records. You know what I mean? Like, because I think that's what. Not Beetlejuice. Rampage.
Damn. Oh my God, man. Oh my God.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it until he turned his head. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I didn't bring it up. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Don't put that on him.
Don't put that on me. But
Oh my God, man.
What I will say though is this: to Beetlejuice.
See, this is why we can't, you know, and he wasn't even trying to clown there.
I'm over here trying not to cry, man. Yo, this is foul.
I put this on Jay Diff.
I just gave the OG his flowers and now Lone tearing him down. Oh my God, Terry and Lone. I ain't gonna say just Lone. Terry and Lone tearing him down, man. We just gave him his flowers. Yo,
I'm sorry. So
I wish y'all could hear how hard Terry laughing off mic, man. This is crazy, bro.
Rampage, to what Rampage was saying about I lost my train of thought, but what he was saying also about, you know, you don't have to make records like this. Where are they? At first, when he said that, I thought he was in reference to in general and generally speaking, all these other artists. And when you say that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Because there are plenty of artists that are dropping records like that.
Facts.
But if he's talking specifically about Busta Rhymes,
yeah,
that's different.
And Busta Rhymes put out a whole album of like Extinction Level Event 2. I mean, like I said, I think it was the time it came out. I don't think we talk about that record enough.
That's a very good album.
The record he has with Kendrick Lamar is something that moves me in a way that I just can't even speak to, especially like, you know, this was a point where I was losing a lot of friends.
Yeah.
You know, even his opening track with Rakim, the song he did, you know, they had the Belle Biv DeVoe sample. Like, I understand why it didn't quite work, but I love that record.
Jackson 5 joint.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about with Kendrick.
Yeah, that joint is hard. Yeah.
Now, Blockbuster, once again, it wasn't because I don't think I had less of a connection with it because he reached out, like he was doing songs with what's Benzino's daughter?
Coi Leray.
Coi Leray. Like, but I was just like,
but it was some bad remakes.
I was like, this wouldn't have worked at any given time.
Yeah.
You know, he had a song with Bia called Beach Balls. I'm like,
I ain't need that.
I see where he was trying to go for. This is where I can see he was trying to do it was something that would work right now. It was a big swing and a miss on a commercial level. And then,
out here sound like Will Smith.
There were literally no new beats on there. They were always just redone.
You know, and so like that's where, you know, when we talk about people who are making those attempts, I've just felt like there's a lot of swings and misses, and it was. And like I said, people want to try different things. They don't want to keep making the same records over and over. But it was hard to listen to Blockbuster after I listened to the greatness that was Extinction Level Event 2.
I think there's a difference too sometimes when you're like chasing. Busta Rhymes is such a big artist, and he has been successful on a pop level.
It's that song with Janet Jackson.
You know what I mean? So like,
no, he got hella crossover hits.
It's not like this is like way out of his wheelhouse to try some stuff like this.
He's been doing it.
That's fair.
So maybe
maybe
it was a swing and a miss to a degree, but
it's because he did a whole album of it.
Yeah,
like generally he would have a song or two.
Yeah, that's normally what it was,
poppy or whatnot. Yeah. But he literally took a blueprint from what's the producer's name that just makes everybody shit again. Not
Khaled.
No.
Come on now. No,
Hitmaker.
Definitely
Hitmaker. He literally took a page from Hitmaker and just redone tracks that had already
I
been
see what
sampled.
You're saying. I thought you were saying something else.
And put it on his album with a bunch of features. And that's another thing I don't like when an artist comes out. It's not necessarily real feature heavy and every song on their album has a feature.
Yeah.
I don't really care to hear the other artists. I want to hear your
I don't know, man. I wanted him to say, I mean, it's cool to, like, the older artists, it's cool to evolve. You can evolve, but, you know, just try not to steer too far off the path.
Don't sell yourself
like that.
out.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short. It's different than selling yourself out.
Those are two different things. And I get where he was going. It just came off like you're trying to keep someone creatively in a 90s box or whatever. And I'm like, even if the miss is a miss, it's like we can't cap someone's creativity, no matter if we like the miss or not. We can't be out here telling people not to evolve and try stuff, man. I hate it. But y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I hate to take anything away from Rampage, but your guy Busta Rhymes he's set in stone as far as his hip hop shit is
that's
concerned.
facts.
He had a miss, but he's still Busta Rhymes.
At the end of the day.
And it does not do anything, be clear, for his legacy.
And that's if he's talking about Busta Rhymes.
Well, this is just us speculating. I don't know.
Sure sounds like it was alluding to.
You know, it's like I said, if you're going look, all you rappers out here who want to make your feelings known about certain things, start putting the names on the bullet. You know, don't just say, oh yeah, people are doing this, people doing that. Who are you talking about? Because if not, all we're going to do is speculate, and we'll put the name on the bullet for you, and then you'll be like, no, I wasn't talking about that. Yeah, okay.
Sure sounds
and
like
plus,
it.
it's like, all right, because this could be a thing. It's like, hey, I'm not getting money with Busta anymore. You know, your guarantee Split Star ain't going to say nothing like that.
Nah,
Split Star.
he
Shout out to him.
No, he ain't going to say a word.
And shout out to Split Star. You know, when Busta came here, you know what I'm saying, you know, he saw me come off stage. He was fresh. He's like, yo, man, I appreciate you. I was like, oh, okay, man, I appreciate you too. And I knew who he was. And it was just like, usually like anybody who's with the rapper, if you will, you know, they feel like they have the same situation as the rapper.
You're not him,
There's
fam.
but you know, I can't imagine seeing a Busta Rhymes show without Spliff Star at this point.
Man, Spliff Star is the greatest hype man of all time.
There's this guy named Flavor Flav.
There is,
but nah, I'm with Terry on
like,
that.
real talk, any concert I've been to with Busta Rhymes, the energy is always high, and it's attributed to my guy.
Yeah.
And
Look, when he came here, like I said, Split Star held him down.
And
Every time.
their chemistry and how they play off each other, it's
Every
effortless.
time. Like,
It's effortless.
and I've said it before, like Busta Rhymes is definitely a show that you want to see if you've never seen it.
So you never know. Rampage, the last Boy Scout, was like, man, this show should have been me.
He
Oh,
mad
here y'all
'cause he
go,
ain't-
man.
he ain't the hype man. Or
He's
he
like,
ain't
I
on tour.
wish Flip Mo was still the squad.
Sorry.
I started off with I started off with flowers. I just wanted to talk about
You
what
started off showing the album cover with a condom on his face.
Yeah, man, that's kind of.
the
You
album
set it
cover
up.
was fired.
Yeah, you
though.
really was it? I mean, like
back then, I was like, oh, this is different. It's
I ain't
No.
never cared for it.
yeah.
it had,
I
but
never
you
listened
know
to
it was
it.
some heat on that album.
No, I know. Like I had that.
There was some
album.
heat on that
You know,
album.
You know who I was waiting for that that crew, the flip mode.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, the Ungodly Hour. They advertised the Ungodly Hour in
Like Me
the
X's
Source.
album?
You would
Brilliant.
You would have thought the Ungodly Hour was going to do big numbers.
Or Mercedes. All right.
No, nobody was
Say
going
it 3 times.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
And that's how you close out a segment professional style.
There you go. That's how you get to
Oh my
100,000.
God, man.
That's how you get you a plaque, son.
No.
Hey, man, that had me.
In stitches, as they
Yes.
say. Yeah.
I did not mean to do that.
What's wrong with you, man? You couldn't unsee it just for the segment?
That was a, what do they call him? A Darwin
Subconscious.
Freudian slip?
Freudian
Like
slip.
he really wasn't trying to diss. It came
You saw
out.
me throw the microphone.
I did. I
was
did.
like, oh no.
I did.
But
All right, man.
But he
That's
does.
funny.
Yeah, you introduced that to the game.
Yeah, good old Killer Mike. So, Killer Mike was, I don't know, he was being interviewed talking about content creators and stuff in Atlanta. One of the gentlemen that interviewed him is a creator. And I just saw him running off names of people that were in Atlanta, just giving props to people that are behind the scenes. I want you guys to watch this video and see just how he talks about it. And then I have a question to pose as it relates to us and just our region, which I think is the total opposite of what we see from Mike in this video.
Atlanta needs to do a better job of telling our story. You know what I'm saying? We have so many talented people there. You tend to only see the people that's in front of the camera and think that's them. But man, for every one artist, man, you got 10, 12 Ray Daniels, 10, 12 legendary Jerry's, Jerry Clark. You got people like Cuz Lightyear on the come up there. You got teams around people like Kenny Mason.
So I've lived in the Midwest my whole life, other than a few stints here and there. Lived in Chicago, but obviously we're from
That's the
Indiana.
Midwest.
It's still
I'm just
Midwest.
giving where, brother.
Oh,
Just
it's all
where.
good.
Just where.
Oh,
Yeah, just
I
where.
thought you were trying to differentiate.
Context, brother. Just context. Yeah, just context.
You've lived other places.
Yeah, just context.
All right,
Still Midwest.
All right, brother.
Yeah, but I never hear people from our region talk glowingly about a place that they're from. This has been an idea in my mind that's been consistent since I've been following music. The South seems to be this way, not all the time, but more than not. And I still have not been able to understand why I don't see it here. I might see it a little bit more in Chicago, but I never see
Probably see it
people.
a lot more in Chicago.
Fair enough. But I never.
Chicago can't stop telling you about
But I
Chicago.
never see people glowingly talk about not only just the artists, the producers, the videographers, the blogs, the websites, I don't see people talking in that manner with like, fam had some pride when he was talking about all the people that some of the people I ain't even know. But he's like, we got 12 of these, 12 of these, 12 of these. I never understood what the disconnect is. So I'm just throwing it out there, man, because even though I've been a part of the scene here, you guys have really been here. I'm here back and forth. I've moved, I've come back. You know, me and Lone grew up together, so I've been around. You guys have always been here. I just don't see it.
The South is different, though.
That's what I'm getting to, bro. Like, tell me why. What's the disconnect?
I mean, the South. I mean, there's a different type of person in the South.
Okay.
Different type of mannerism, a different type of greeting, a different type of respect. Like, you have people even come here from the South and they might wave and speak to you, and you don't do the same thing. They don't feel welcome. They don't like that because that's not their experience in the South, and that's just the South overall. As far as support, a local point of view, Indiana and Naptown, Anderson, Fort Wayne, whatever, Gary, everybody's so fickle here when it comes to support. And we've talked about that before. You have to pop or be heard about from somewhere else for everybody else to kind of back you, so to speak. Situation was going on about a week or so ago involving Kitty Red, and now she's talking about Sexy Red kind of stole her style, right? So unfortunately, a lot of people was like, we don't know who she is, or they're not paying attention to who she is. She's just trying to get some clout out Sexy Red. Right. When she actually had some receipts to kind of prove that they had been in conversations at some point in time and was able to kind of prove her case. But Kitty Red is not the one in the spotlight right now. Right. It's Sexy Red. Right. So it's almost like, I hate to say bandwagoning, so to speak, but that's kind of what it is. It's a weird vibe, like, here as far as that's concerned. Like, certain people get support no matter what. So, like, I mean, Maxie literally puts the city on his back. He has a shot. Well deserved. Nap or nothing.
Well deserved.
You can't deny people like him. You can't deny people like Tragic. You know what I'm saying? These people have made stamps in the city and have continued to speak nothing but Naptown. So you can't deny them. They're like mayors. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. 100%.
Now, other people don't have that same type of reach. So it takes somebody from almost another city. Like, for example, remember when Tully C and Abe Links got on because somebody had heard them from someone from out of town.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
We've literally been telling people, or bringing out a band has been a hub for a lot of dope artists. Just want to put that out there. Been sharing, talking about, push these artists to the forefront. Nobody pays attention until somebody from somewhere else, and it's like, oh, why didn't nobody tell me? It's like we have been. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird that we have to go through that, and I don't think it's just our city. I think we pay attention to it here because we're here. I think this kind of happens everywhere. Yeah. You know, but I mean, it's just, again, we're not the South. The South is different. Like, I think that's why people think they can run to Atlanta and they're gonna just, you know what I'm saying, welcome them with open arms and put them on.
I will say this.
It doesn't work like that.
I will say this. Southern hospitality is a real thing.
It is.
I got family in the South, been going to the South since I was a child. So to his point about that's 100% accurate. That part of the South is correct. Go ahead, Lona. I know you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to say, people also run to LA, you know what I mean?
They also run to New York.
And people from here also run anywhere besides here, you know, like, I don't have a huge perspective of living in another city, so I can't really speak on what it's really like. You know what I mean? Like, I know what it's like here, and I can definitely speak on that. And I don't know if that is a uniquely Midwest or Indianapolis thing. I don't think that it is. I'm gonna be honest. There might be some sort of element that come into play from the southern angle, maybe. But there are other southern cities too. You know,
be honest with you, Lone. After living in Chicago and living out east, as it relates to just what we're talking about, support, local support, artists, how they're received, who talks about who, it is definitely different here.
In what way?
Everything that Terry just talked about terms of just how the landscape of how things work, it's definitely
one
different.
Of the things that I've always kind of hypothesized in myself, and I probably shared it with you guys, is that, like, I feel like this is one of those cities where sounds bad, but it's like you almost have to have a cosign from somebody else to even be acknowledged sometimes. It's like you can't be great at the thing you do unless somebody else bigger than you says that you're also great. Like they need to be told that, oh, this is actually great, as opposed to just observing and being like, oh no, this is actually great. I want to get it behind it. And now this isn't everybody.
No, not at all.
But in general, it feels that way a lot of times.
It does.
And it's weird. And Terry and I have witnessed this a lot with artists.
In real time. In
real time with artists that we have put out and shared and put out locally and nationally.
Talk to them.
I mean, putting people onto stuff to where like you see people gravitate towards them years later. And it's maybe people need a time to catch up or maybe it's a personality thing. I don't honestly know exactly. It's always fascinated me though that, it seems very much, and I'm not trying to down Indianapolis or anything like that, but it just feels like, you have to you have to have that cosign before people want to spend their time to pay attention to if you're good or not.
It's more of it's just
at anything that you do.
It's like a case study, bro. It's just, I've always wondered about it because I would be lying. I'd be capping if I said there isn't some support here. I've been supported. We've all been supported before. So I get that part, but the dynamic as it relates to when you just hear people glowingly talk about their city and just naming all these random people, some we know, some that we don't. And it's like, it's a sense of pride about it. Yo, man, there's 11 of these guys, 12 of these guys. I just don't see that.
This is not a networking capital. I'll say that.
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
You go to these bigger cities, their whole thing is about networking. They literally have events where the whole event, it might be fun. I mean, we have them here too.
True.
But they have them like on the weekly in these bigger cities. Like the whole event is about networking, meeting somebody. You might have a good idea that goes with this idea that this person has too. Let's get together. Let's make it happen. They're more so in tune to create an opportunity for somebody else because it's going to benefit themselves as well. Like I've literally been to Atlanta, walked into like a hookah bar and talked to the person that runs the place. Hey, I'm a DJ. Oh, really? Sit you down, talk to you. What you need to drink. Whenever you're in town, let me know. I might be able to put you on the night. This is literally what happens there.
Yeah.
Just from conversation.
Yeah.
I can do the same thing here. Walk into a place, just because such and such doesn't know who I am. I might have the same conversation with the bar owner, and they just be like, oh, okay, and just gone about their business. Whereas there, it's more so like, I'm trying to program this night. If you come in, I like what you're talking about, and it pops off, then we got some. He's also going to give the next person a chance too. They're not trying to hold people back. And I'm not saying that happens here, but there's a lot of favoritism when it comes to certain things and certain elements of, especially music. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be put in front of the people that you want to be put in front of just off the strength of you on your own. It has to include other people saying that, nah, this is who you need to pay attention to. And a lot of times it's people from outside of even the circles that people respect.
I think a lot of it, the difference in opinion and difference in perception, even with Killer Mike talking about, he's about this 12 of this, which 12 of this. Think about Outkast's album came out 30 years ago at this point. Okay. So what Atlanta has, and they had success before this, but Atlanta has 30 years of musical success to have built an infrastructure that there's so many people who have been successful in the music industry that comes from on a national level that come from Atlanta that you can say, okay, yes, that person can do this. They can do this for you. They can do that for you. Unfortunately, despite all of the strides Indianapolis has just made in the last decade, we still don't have that one person or group where we can say, yes, they're from here. They've done this. You need to come back and holler at some of this other talent. Now, mind you, the landscape of how the music industry has changed. I mean, because like you can say that for other cities. You can say that for Chicago. You can say that for Memphis. You can say that for St. Louis. Unfortunately, Indianapolis has had looks, but they haven't had that one where you can be like, okay, yeah, that's what Indianapolis is doing. We have what I consider to be an infrastructure, a hip hop economy, where we have our own festival. We have our own stores. We have our own studios. We have more than one festival that's centered around, black culture, hip hop culture, whatever you would like to call it. But unfortunately, there isn't that one person that brought that platinum record. I mean, Babyface, but that's different.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but that's more Gary.
But but I'm talking about it in within 460
from the hip hop point of view,
from somebody who has brought a platinum or even a gold plaque back to 465.
And I think it breeds that alone might breed a scarcity kind of mindset within the people within the city a little bit. To try to hold on to any little bit of clout or anything that they can, it's like people want to be that person, as opposed to just sharing in it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. There are a lot of people that do a lot of really great things here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And to Terry's point, there's other cities that probably have the same situation.
It's literally the same thing, and that's what I hate about being here and hearing people down the city based on them thinking their experience here, or if they go somewhere else, it's going to be different. No, it's going to be the same. You just don't know those people. Mm-hmm. You haven't been through that system to know that that system actually works the same way that it works here. You're just used to it here because you're around it. You're paying attention to it. When you go somewhere else, it's not going to be different based off of your same situation. It's going to be different because it's a new surrounding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, and look, it's sometimes I think we're looking through the lens of success, only through, okay, this person's not a national star. We don't have this. We don't have that. But at the same time, I've talked about this in more than one occasion on more than one platform. I was like, look, do you know how incredible it is that we do have a hip hop festival here?
Facts.
There are larger cities who have more resources as far as artists and managers and producers or whatever, who for whatever reason have not come up with a hip hop festival in these larger cities who have brand names as far as, there's no hip hop festival in Chicago, St. Louis, Memphis, not one that I've heard of.
Well, Rolling Loud, Rose, like they get the bigger festivals that national artists are coming to.
Okay, so you talk about
Rolling Loud is huge.
Yeah, but that's Rolling Loud. That has no regional actual affiliation.
It's not showcasing the local talent.
No, so you have to already be on to be booked at Rolling Loud. You have to already have some sort of connection.
True.
And some people will say, well, you got to have some connections, get on at Treese. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be through the Universal Music Group.
No. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to be signed to CIAA, or that's something else, but CIA, whatever.
That's a conference, but that's all. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
There's some, whatever. There's some big management group in LA that handles, once you've made it and you've got people who are really behind you, CAA, that's what it is.
There you go.
And people are like, oh, an independent artist. Yeah, but you signed to this big management label and you have a push behind you. There are people who are looking to set up your brand deals and make sure that, you get a Happy Meal once you get a hit record.
See, that's what bothers me about our demographic and how we move, because we're actually doing the right steps as far as showcasing people or creating, situations where people can be seen, and other people that have the power to make that move aren't stepping in to make sure that they get it to the next level. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
No,
I follow you.
Yeah,
because we're doing Indianapolis is doing the work. When you came here for All Star, and there was a whole thing that was there was the whole situation. We had all the hip hop that was showcased downtown.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who was not from here who came through there got an opportunity to see artistically what Indianapolis is about. That was us saying, hey, I knew people that came here and were like, wow, this is dope. You guys do. And I was like, this is just one part. This is the Treese part that we're doing for the All-Star game. But we have a whole festival that hits in August. And it's like, man, we don't have anything like this in our city. People were thoroughly impressed at how we present our artists to the world.
That's real.
I'm going to say one last piece on that. And I think, we have a lot of things that have been established and created here. I mean, I have to give shouts to Indiana Jones, rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Because he was one of the main people in this city that connected a lot of people to the music industry in that way. And even if it wasn't in the forefront, through his connections, a lot of stuff was created, and he laid a lot of groundwork.
Facts.
For a lot of people and a lot of artists and and just the culture of hip hop here. And I feel like we took a major hit when he passed away.
Yeah. We did.
But with that being said, there are lots of things that have been created here that have lasted. There are individuals that are continually to curate the culture in a variety of different ways. And, I have to, I don't want to leave anybody out, but I'm just going to say some names. But the people, Oreo Jones started Treese. Mm-hmm. He got a whole bunch of people together that were doing things, and it was a collective thing to create something bigger than himself.
Right.
He brought Indiana Jones on board. He brought Jay Brookins on board, who is also somebody who has spent decades doing the same thing. When you go back to
battle.
Well, even before that, when you talk about Heavy Gun, the Heavy Gun blog to the Gateway stuff he was doing. And then you talk about the Beat Battle and then the Beat Battle League, and Metronome was a part of the Beat Battles as well. And, then he's helping out with this. Then obviously there's DJ Metronome as well, and everything that he's a part of that everybody knows and that everybody doesn't know. Nick Nick does a lot, especially for the DJ community and the sound community. And
his work with Butter, the
Butter,
upcoming Arts
exactly.
Festival.
Butter as well,
which is something else that's national.
There's a lot of people that have put in a lot of work. You could even mention shouts to Rambo Hustle when he did his Naptown Connect thing. And I don't know if he's still doing that as much as he was, but he was blogging just Naptown hip hop for a long time.
That was important.
Yeah, and those things are important. And even still, the bringing down the band, the fact that the milestone that it just hit is important because that is founded and started in Indiana.
Right.
That is an Indiana thing. The New Old Heads podcast that has 400 episodes of 4 guys talking about hip hop culture continually for 8 years. Those type of things are the things beyond us, but those are the type of things that build up a culture to eventually get to a point to where it can be like in Atlanta.
True.
And, we need more things like that. And there are lots of people that are starting things all the time in different sects all over the place. Sex, not sex.
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
But, I think one thing that Terry and I have always talked about was man, I really wish people, and it's a little bit selfish, but not really, but we always, from an angle of wish people got behind the stuff we were doing at Bringing Down the Band a little bit more here, only because, not for us, but because of the more people that are a part of something, just the same way people got behind Treese.
Yeah.
It just brings everything up. And when something's created like that, the more people that really get behind it and really stay active in it, no matter what it is important. And, so shouts to all the people that are out here creating, doing it. And there's a bunch of other festivals. There's people on the South Side doing stuff. There's different sections of hip hop in the city of people doing a bunch of stuff. And
that's dope.
The Naptown DJ Fest that just passed. Shout out to DJ Long Green.
And all the people that are out here being creatives and doing things outside that are important for the city to grow and the culture to grow around it. It's a hard business. It's not a lot of things involved. But it's very important. So I just, if you're out there doing that, just keep doing it.
Yeah. They say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
You can make it in Indianapolis. You can make it anywhere.
You can make it anywhere.
Literally. Because
straight up,
to your point of, as far as Bringing Down a Band is literally the Fake Shore Drive of Indianapolis.
This is true.
You see how every artist in Chicago got behind Fake Shore Drive. From a guy that's running it that wasn't even from there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we were literally building that same thing, and for people not to understand, some people did.
Yeah, some people did, absolutely.
Some people did, but it takes movement to make a wave.
I saw that happen in real time. I remember when it first started, and I remember watching it, and then slowly but surely, and it's not, it's the local groundswell, but it's the big names coming down.
And granted, it is a bigger market, but,
bigger.
But at the same time, what Andrew did with Fake Shore Drive was really monumental for the city of Chicago.
Legendary.
Because it became a hub for the city.
The fact that he was able to go there and plant his flag and actually embrace the city and ride for it, which is authentic. It's genuine. He's embedded there now. So, he's done a great job with it. But you're right, bro. I saw the groundswell, and it took those names just a handful of those to kind of get up under there, and it was a wrap.
And to be honest, I don't blame anybody for lack of support or anything like that, or not catching on or seeing the mission, and out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Like part of that is on me and us for not communicating that in a better way, right? True. But man,
we're still here though.
We're still here. We're still doing it.
Still gotta play.
And I think it's just continue to support the creatives, man, because it's hard. It's hard out here.
I like that. That's a good ending spot. Newoldheads.com for all the education you need this year. Remember, if you see it, like it, subscribe to it, hit any bell that you see for any notifications, and also leave us a 5-star review, because at this point, if you don't leave a 5-star review, pretty much hating at this point.
Shouts to the 1-star review we got.
We got a 1?
Yeah, I shared it in our Discord.
I have to go back and
I need to know the history on that one.
Yeah, somebody might have been having a bad day long.
Apparently, we need more black femmes on our show.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was interesting. Yeah.
Well, maybe by episode 800.
No, we will not. This ain't that.
Because when black femmes have a show,
they
don't ask them, "Hey, where are all the men?"
So yeah, man, and I know it's
1-star review.
I know it's Thursday, but we'll be at Treese Saturday here at Fountain Square in Indianapolis for the festival.
Come on out.
We got New Old Heads tent table, we got merch, we got everything. But most importantly, we are doing a push for our treat. I mean, not for our treats, for our Patreon. So you guys just sign up. So come out, sign up, get some cool stuff, hear some dope beats, dope artists. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Yeah.
Bong.